ביאור משנה י' נאמר בפסח, it says in the Pesach sacrifice, ולא תותירו ממנו עד בוקר. You should not leave from it until morning. והנותר ממנו עד בוקר באש תשרפו. And whatever is left until morning, you should burn it in fire. מכאן שמצוות עשה לשרוף את הנותר. From here we have a positive commandment to burn the extra, whatever is remained. משנתנו בא ללמד שאין שורפים את הנותר ביום טוב ומכל שכן בשבת. Our Mishnah comes to teach us, like we learned in the previous Mishnah, that why we don't burn the notar on Yom Tov, and of course we don't burn it on Shabbat. Let's see. העצמות של הפסח שאסור לשברן. The bones of the Pesach sacrifice, as we know, we're not allowed to break them. כמו שנאמר, just like it says in שמות, ועצם לא תשברו בו. And the bone you should not break in the Pesach sacrifice. והרי, Arya doesn't know this, but נותר בהם מוך הראוי לאכילה. In the bones, there's the inside of the bone that people love to eat it. Yeah? People eat it. This is food. ומכיוון שהמוח נעשה נותר, and now, if it's people eat it, you have the bones, you're not allowed to break it. So how are you going to get the bones out? But there's food there. So what do you have to do with the bones in the next morning? See, you have a problem. The problem is that you're supposed to eat the whole Pesach sacrifice. Whatever can be eaten, you're supposed to eat. Now, if you have a bone, so you're supposed to eat the much, because that's what people eat. But there's another halacha, you're not allowed to break the bone. So how are you going to get the thing out? You're not allowed to break, yeah. Yeah. So the usual way is to break the bone and then just like this, but they can't break the bone. And it's food. So the next day, it will remain for the next day, and then they will have to burn the bones. That's the problem. In them, there's this black stuff that is befitting to be eaten. וכיוון שהמוך נעשה נותר, and since this becomes נותר, it passes over the time of eating, וטעון שריפה, now we need to burn it, אף העצמות עצמם טעונות שריפה מחמת המוך שבהם. We need to burn the bones themselves because they have that edible part. והגידין, also the sinews. בגמרא מבואר, in the Gemara it explains, שאין מדובר כאן בגידי צוואר. We're not talking about the sinews of the neck. שהרי קשים הם כעץ ואינם ראויים לאכילה, because that's not food. Nobody eats them. ולכן אין בהם משום נותר. And if it's not food, it's not called נותר. וגידי בשר הרכים, הרי בכלל בשר הם. And the thin ones, the thin גידים, everybody calls them meat anyway. So what do you have to say? והיינו, הנותר השנוי במשנתנו, and these are נותר. אלא מדובר כאן בגיד הנשה החיצון הסמוך לבשר. So we know that gid הנשה is prohibited, the thing that in the back foot of the cow, because of Yaakov, the fight with the angel, it is disallowed for us to eat. But there's the gid is very long. So from the Torah, the part that's not allowed to be eaten, that's one part. But there's another part that the rabbis says, also don't eat this part. Because, it comes and it becomes the other part slowly. So this part also don't eat. But this part don't eat, it's from the rabbis. So you're not allowed to eat from the rabbis, but it's still food. So that part, that's the gidim that you will have to burn the next day. Because the Torah allows you to eat it. And therefore it is food. Okay? שאיסורו מדברי סופרים, because the prohibition is from the rabbis, כי התורה לא אסרה אלא הגיד הפנימי הסמוך לעצם. The Torah only prohibited the sinew that is next to the bone. נמצא שאף על פי שאסור לאכלו, we find that even though one is not allowed to eat it, מכל מקום מן התורה חל עליו דין נותר. The Torah still calls it food. The Rabbanan says you're not allowed to eat it. וטעון שריפה, and therefore it needs to be burnt. ויש מפרשים, there are those who says, שכוונת המשנה לשומנו של גיד הנשה. Some say it's the fat. שכן שנו בברייתא, שומנו מותר. The Braita says that even though the fat is permissible, ישראל קדושים הם ונוהגים בו איסור. The Jewish people make themselves holier than what is necessary, and they don't even eat the fat because it says it's next to the גיד הנשה. We don't want to do anything to it, but it is food, so you have to burn it. והנותר מבשר הפסח, so whatever remained from this flesh, ישרפו ב-16. You have to burn on the 16th, בניסן. שהוא חולו של מועד, it's the first day of חול המועד. ואף על פי שנעשה נותר בבוקרו של 15, hey, but it became מותר in the morning of the 15th. דוחים שריפתו למחר, you push the burning to the next day, שאין שורפים קודשים ביום טוב, because there's a rule that we don't burn holies, sacrifices on Yom Tov. It doesn't explain where the rule comes from. Maybe it's going to explain later on. חל 16 להיות בשבת. If the 16th happens to be also on Shabbat, so it was Yom Tov on the Friday and 16th is Shabbat, ישרפו ב-17. Then you have to push it in one more day. Burn it on the 17th. לפי שאינם דוחים בשריפתם לא את השבת ולא את היום טוב. He's going to explain now why. Because they don't push away neither Shabbat nor Yom Tov. Let's see why. הטעם מבואר בגמרא. Why? How come he doesn't push away Shabbat in Yom Tov? לפי שביום טוב יש מצוות עשה. Yom Tov we have a positive commandment. What's the positive commandment of Yom Tov? של שבתון. You have to rest. ומצוות לא תעשה. And also we have a negative commandment in Yom Tov. של כל מלאכת עבודה לא תעשו. So you have to rest, and you have, it's a positive commandment, and you have a negative commandment. That you're not allowed to do any work that has nothing to do with food. Yeah? ואין מצוות עשה של שריפת הנותר. And we have now a positive commandment to burn the sacrifice. That's a positive commandment. A sacrifice that passed its time, we have a positive commandment that you burn it. So the positive commandment of burn it will maybe out-trump a positive commandment, or maybe even out-trump a negative commandment. But it doesn't out-trump a positive and a negative. Yom Tov has a positive, tishbetun, and a negative, lo ta'asu kol melacha. So the one positive doesn't out-trump both things. דוחה עשה ולא תעשה. He doesn't push away both a positive and a negative של יום טוב, the יום טוב. ומכל שכן שאינה דוחה שבת. And how much more so he doesn't push away Shabbat. So that's how you learn it. ויש למדים זה ממה שנאמר. Some learn it from a different place. It says, ולא תתורו ממנו עד בוקר. It says, you should not leave from it until morning. והנותר ממנו עד בוקר באש תשרפו. And then the next verse says, and whatever remained until morning, in the fire you will burn. You don't need the second until morning. There's two bok. What do you need? I already know it's until morning. You already told me. שאין תלמוד לומר עד הבוקר. You don't need to say until morning again. שלא היה צריך כתוב לומר שנית עד בוקר. You didn't need to say the second time until morning. אלא והנותר ממנו באש תשרפו. I know already. You already just told me until morning. Just tell me that you have to burn it. אלא שבא כתוב ליתן לו בוקר שני לשריפתו. It says it hints to you that there's another morning, not the first morning, the second morning. כלומר שלא ישרוף בבוקר הראשון, שיום טוב don't burn it in the first morning, which is a holiday, אלא בבוקר שני ש16, burn it on the second morning, שהוא חולו של מועד. That this is the חול of מועד.